I think that a boring date is not great.
Now dig on this.
What up? And welcome to Classic Movie Banter. You know that podcast where me, that one dude Brenton, and that other dude sitting over there at the end of the table, Nathan.
It's me.
We talk about movies that are older than 20 years. Well, actually, not today. Today we're not talking about films that are older than 20 years. Today's the only day that we're getting rid of the 20-year rule because today is our 7-season special. Welcome, one and all.
It's so good. I'm so glad we're back here. It's a new season, Brenton. I'm all for new seasons. Get the fuck out of here, summer. In Australia. I've had enough of you in your heat.
Have you had enough of it though? I feel like summer's pretty good in Aussie land.
It is. It's alright.
I feel like, okay, here's my thing though. In Sydney, it gets a bit dry. That's my only thing because we're both from Queensland. We like the tropics. We like the humidity.
We do.
We're all about that lifestyle. So Sydney doesn't have much of that. So it's a bit drier, which I'm not about. But some people are. I feel like I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of not enjoying dry heat. You know what I mean? People like dry heat, and I'm just kind of not about it. But anyway, that's beside the point because today is a 7-season special, and we're here to talk about all things movies, specifically movie dates. Nathan, do you like a date night?
Mate, I bloody love a date night. I'm all for those dates. As a single man myself, I've been on a handful of them, and you know what? They're always fun. There's always a good story from a date, you know? The worst date you can have is just a boring date, if that makes sense.
I agree. I think that a boring date is not great.
Oh, there you go. That's a bumper sticker that Brenton owns, just like as he drives around Sydney.
Yeah, because I've been on some bad dates.
I know.
Most of them,
so
but
much.
all of them, I got a great story to tell. No.
Well, that's the thing, yeah. So, like, Brenton came up with a great idea that every new season that the world goes to, we like to make a top 7 list because, 7 is a great number. And, we've done top 7 bars, we've done top 7 Lego sets, food, animals, etc. And Brenton came up with a great idea. We should talk about the best 7 dates that are in movies, the dates we want to go on.
Absolutely. Now, Nathan, you added a very important piece of information when you said the dates that we would want to go on.
Yes.
Because there are a few caveats, there are a few rules that go along with the 7 seasons. So today what we're doing is, in the dates that Nathan and I have brought to the table today, we'll be saying what person we would like to be on this date.
Yes.
And specifically, we are not actually that character. It is us. It is Brenton and Nathan that are going on the date with the other character from the film.
Exactly, yeah. So if in Harry Potter, Ron's going out with Hermione, right? If, Hermione rocks up around Hogwarts Castle to see Ron for, a lovely little stroll, we are now Hermione. So the person talking about the list, we are now standing in for them, and the other character still thinks we're them. When you watch a movie and you see a good date, I'm just like, I want to know what that's like, to be on some great dates in cinema. Because I think cinema's a great reference point for what you should do in dates, as we'll soon learn by talking through our respective lists.
I strongly disagree with that statement, that movies give you a great idea of what you should do on dates, because I feel like if you did most of the things that are done on these dates, you would be considered a sociopath.
I guess, out of context without that movie magic. What's funny as well? When I was thinking over the week about this list, Brenton, I realized there are more bad dates in cinema than good dates.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I was thinking through this as well, and I thought that all these dates have to have conflict, because you never see like a great date that goes wonderfully. There's all these little moments in these dates that I've chosen for today's show that have really either drastic consequences, really bad moments, moments of serious conflict, but some of that conflict happens like directly after the date. Like I can name a few that the conflict happens when the date is over, and it kind of muddles the whole date experience. We're not here to talk about what happens afterwards because we're not that character again, so we can just experience the date and get the hell out. The other thing that I have to say is that we're rating these dates also on whether or not we'd go on another date with said character.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's the 2 criteria. Do we like the date, and then do we go on a second date with them? That's how we're going to talk about it today.
Kind of like life.
And we want to hear from you, listeners. Like, if you got movies that you watch and you're like, man, I want to be on that date, or you have done that date, you've seen that movie as inspiration, you've watched Friends with Benefits, and you're like, I want to do a flash mob with Justin Timberlake, then let us know. let us know if you've done it. So
that's the worst reference you've ever made on this show. That's absolutely
Friends with Benefits is a good movie. I'll stand by that film. That's one of my favorite rom-coms.
Is it? Okay.
Have you not seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
It's a good
I've seen
time.
This,
it's really good.
I've seen 3 scenes from it.
Have you seen that flash mob scene?
I haven't. I have no idea that was a flash mob.
The best thing about that movie is that Woody Harrelson plays like this like really gay designer. Like, and he's great.
Yeah, we love you, Woody.
Oh.
You're a champion, mate.
You're a good time. So, do you want to kick us off, Brent, with this top 7 list? Top 7 dates in movies.
Sure. Let's get cracking with
excited.
number 7. Oh, now this is really embarrassing. My number 7.
I feel like they're all gonna be pretty bad.
This is absolutely an atrocious pick.
What's the date we're going on, Brenton?
Well, Nathan, you can't judge me because you've chosen this specific film for a number 1 slot in one of our past 7 seasons.
Oh.
Nathan, today, the romantic, some would say comedy, others would say tragedy, Twilight is rearing its ugly head
my God,
in
Brenton.
our conversation around cinema.
Jeez.
Now,
Okay.
Nathan, here we go. There is a specific date in this movie that occurs when Edward takes Bella on said date. Specifically.
This is a date you want to go on.
Yeah, dude. So he specifically takes Bella to his house to meet his fucking crazy ass vampire ass family,
Yes.
right? And she goes to that. She goes to his room, figures out there's no bed, is very disappointed about that.
Yeah. we see you, girl.
Oui, senor. And he makes everything okay because Nathan, he takes her on this crazy date.
Let's run through the forest.
I'm not going on a fucking date with Kristen Stewart, all right? I'm letting
No.
Batman himself take me out, all right?
That'd be great.
Specifically, where Edward is taking me
Yeah.
is that we decide to go for we have a little rendezvous in the woods, let's say, and we
Okay.
go jumping between trees.
Jeez.
And he climbs up this fucking mountain via trees. And I'm hanging off his back. It's really, really kind of, erotic, consensual.
Okay.
We get to the top of these trees. I'm a mountains guy, dude. We get to this like amazing view and we look out and I'm on his back and we're like, holy shit, man, you just like fucking vampired up here. And I'm like, that was amazing. And then he plays me a song on the piano named after me. Man, like that's a hell of a date.
It's a very bold date, It's very adventurous. I like it for a first date, Brenton, but I think there's flaws.
I agree, but also, I will say this as well. The main reason I think that sells this date, there's 2 things. One is that even if it wasn't as spontaneous as it seemed spontaneous. Even if Edward hadn't had this all planned out that he was going to go up into the mountains because he knew I was a mountains boy and we were going to climb some trees together, it was going to be a great old time. He knows how to sell his wares, you know what I mean? He knows how to sell his date. The second reason, and this is the major caveat, as opposed to the health and safety issues that are already. We all know that he's a fucking vampire, and we all know that he's taken me up into the trees, and if I fall, I'm gonna crack my neck and probably bleed out and die. Aside from that, the worst thing he does on this date is that he says, "Hold on, Spider Monkey," which is probably one of the like. If we were doing a top 7 worst lines in cinema, that would be on there for sure. It's also
bad.
hilarious. It's the line that never fails to make me laugh.
I think it's like the only time he calls it Spider Monkey as well. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's so terrible. But, like, I wouldn't want to go on this date, Brenton, because, like, I would just be so nauseous. Like fucking slamming into trees, like, clinging onto the back of the wind in my hair. If I'm Bella, not Bella, I'm myself, but, like, my hair would be getting in front of my face.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing that she can fucking see on this date. But, like, so great. So, but here's the thing. Like, I wouldn't want to just, like, go skydiving because I want to appreciate the view, right? My favorite part of skydiving would be, like, on the parachutey part where you actually get to appreciate the view. If you're fucking slamming into trees and then climbing up a fucking mountain, you're not pausing to, like, take in any of this shit. You're just praying to God you're not going to die, Brenton.
Well, they have a moment's reprieve when they reach this certain tree and he sits her in a fucking branch and they just look out.
They have, like, a Tarzan Jane moment where they have their hands touched just so.
I mean, maybe I should have picked Tarzan. Maybe that's what I should have picked instead of
because that's a much better date where he's, like, swinging her around, like, the jungle and that kind of stuff. At least there's more, like,
absolutely
more safety nets. You can grab a fucking vine if you slip. There, by the way, these trees look sharp. Like, if you fall down this tree, they're high and they're sharp, mate. Like, I don't know if I like these trees.
You're gonna get some brambles and some pines in places you don't want them. Yeah, agreed. No. And I will say as well, like, the only caveat with Tarzan is that he doesn't speak fucking English. So, like, I'm an intellectual fellow.
But then again, do you want to have a conversation with Edward? He's just like, he's so... No! I feel like on the actual date, when we're done fucking swinging, I'm just like, catching my goddamn breath and actually vomited just to get my shit together. We'll actually sit down and he starts playing the piano. I don't want to fucking talk to Edward about shit. Like, I don't think he'd be an interesting fella.
To be fair, he's like, what, 100 and something years old or whatever he is. I think that's the most interesting thing about him. I'd love to ask what it was like in, like, 1908 or whatever and be like, what was going on?
What was life like that?
Like...
I'd be like, I don't know. I prefer him if he took me to the Vatican to see Michael Sheen. Like, at least we're in, like, Italy. You know what I mean? Like, that'd be nicer than the fucking woods.
Go hang out with Dakota Fanning and Michael Sheen. Oh, man. Nutcracker Michael Sheen. He literally looks like he's from, like...
He's so bad in those movies.
Like...
he's so fucking terrible.
Dude, like the scene that's the funny, like it's one of the like there's 3 funny scenes, okay? One is Spider Monkey, the scene that I'm referring to. 2 is when Bella screams like a stuck pig in the second movie when she's having like PTSD because Edward's left her.
Jesus.
And 3, it's so funny, dude. That scene from New Moon is like, it is a good time. Look it up on YouTube, fine folk. Number 3 is when they have like the battle that's not...
Yeah, it's in Breaking Dawn Part 2. And is it when he's like, when he goes up to the kid that they have or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
so
seen
it like zooms out of her eye and then it like shows like...
And his eyeballs are fucking like bulging.
He looks like it looks like he wasn't there and he wasn't available to shoot that day.
Yeah.
So they got his blow up action figure and like put that in place to like get the shot. Oh, it's so funny, man. What a funny moment. But yeah, I'm sticking with it, dude. Like, I would go on this date. Would I go on another date? Here's the question with young Edward.
No, because you know how that shit ends. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not even that I know it ends.
Okay.
Like, I think this is the extent of his creativity. I don't think he's got it.
No, I feel like there are better dates that you can go on. Even like sitting in the fucking cafeteria with Edward would be nicer. You know what I mean? Because he's just like, you know, he's normal and that kind of shit. I feel like also they have a nice house. I think I just want to hang in their house and just like, you know.
Yeah, I want to talk to his dad. I reckon his dad's a cool dude. Like, I like genuinely, he's like a doctor that like thought up all this shit about being like a vegetarian.
You know what? I hear you, but I feel like it'd be better if we did it in Bella's house. So we have like the dad with the shotgun, like ready to go if like shit turns sour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm about that.
I'm a fan of that. You know what? I won't go on this date with Edward, but I get where you're coming from. So no first or second from me.
I'd also like to ask him about his like hair products. Like, you know, what he uses to like make his hair like kind of like sit up in that way. You know what I mean? Like, I want to have some of those goddamn curls. I want to sparkle.
That's the thing. If we're clinging to Edward's back, that means we're probably getting like a wave of hair products like slapping us in the face as we're like jumping between trees to trees. Like we just got that head of hair just in front of us.
Well, last thing I'll say before we move on, because we spent far too long on this.
Yes.
A big part for me, like, I don't know about you, but everyone has a scent, right? Like, everyone's got like a scent.
They do. I can tell when you bloody walk in the room, mate.
You know, I'm a smelly boy, but like, you know, everyone's got a scent they exude. And sometimes like people have got scents that like, they're not bad. They just don't agree with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Do you reckon Edward's got a good scent? And 2, do you reckon he like uses like Lynx Africa or some shit?
Christ.
Or like, you know, like...
I don't think he uses spray on.
No, I don't think he does it. I reckon he uses like... I don't think he needs to because he's like dead. He's a vampire.
I think he probably just smells like the forest. Like, I think he's just got that natural smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got that natural pine smell. I think as well that he strikes me as the kind of guy that wears like lots of cologne though. Like he wears cologne to go to 7-Eleven to get a slushie. You know what I mean? Like he's... I can't
do that.
You can't do it? Yeah. It'd be a lot.
It would be a lot.
So yeah, look, it was a fine experience. I enjoyed the view, Edward, but I'm not going for round 2. Sorry about that, brother. Please don't suck me dry.
Oh, Jesus. All right. Well, moving on from that date, Brent.
Vampire innuendo. Get it, guys?
I get
it.
Go,
Nathan.
I get it.
Please.
Okay, so the first date, I'm immediately getting this out of the way, Brenton. We're going straight to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. We're going there first on this little date extravaganza. Now, if this is the only one on this list I did this for, I actually couldn't choose out of the 2 dates, so I need you to help me, Brenton.
Oh, wow.
I tried my hardest, because to be honest with you, I don't think there's any really excellent dates in the whole Spider-Man trilogy, but I wanted to give it a place. I wanted to give Tobey a place in this list.
He always has a place, mate.
He always has a place in this list. It'd be blasphemous if we didn't put him in here somewhere. So it's funny, both of these dates are actually not between Tobey. It's a date between Harry Osborn and Mary Jane Watson in the original Spider-Man trilogy. Yes. Now, I can't tell which date's better. Is it when Harry takes MJ to the festival in Spider-Man 1, right? They got that balcony view, they're watching like the party, all that fun stuff. Or is it in Spider-Man 3 when they're having a little cute kitchen date and they're dancing? I can't tell which one's better.
I think the answer is very easy.
Oh, Brenton, this is why you're here. Because Harry's texted me both options and I don't know which one to go on.
There is a couple of caveats in both, but yes. I think that I would much rather go to the kitchen and hang out and have a nice time and make some... What were they making? Pancakes or something? Or omelets? Or...
Because there's a lot of like cooking dates in movies. Another favorite I wanted to put on this list was when Vision and Scarlet Witch are cooking in Civil War. I love that date.
I knew you were... I thought you were going to say that. Yeah. I thought that was going to be in your list.
I love a good cook, but I wanted to give the cooking spot here. So great. Okay, so Harry Osborn's like, Nathan, come on over. We're going to do some fucking cooking. You're like, I know Peter's out of your life, so I'm like, great, let's do some cooking.
Wait, so are you MJ? Are you MJ?
Yeah, I'm MJ in this equation. Because it's by the way, if we're going to MJ, that means we have to do it at her house. I don't want to go to MJ's house where her dad's like being a weirdo. It's like, I don't want any of that. So we're Harry. We've got amnesia, so we're not even acting like Harry at this point.
Yeah. I'll also say that in regards to your other date option is that like the reason I didn't pick it was because I'd probably have some PTSD from the fact that I just watched the whole board of Oscorp get like vaporized into
Yeah, I
skeleton,
know.
so.
I know. But I like the festival. The festival seems fun. It's
Oh, does it? I don't know.
It's a good time. They got giant inflatable things and
That's true.
Yeah.
Some live music, sure.
That song's shitty though from that movie, I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty terrible song.
But back to the date we're on in the kitchen. Yeah. So we're Franco. Oh, we're MJ. Sorry.
Yeah, we're
Sorry.
MJ.
I thought,
We're
so
MJ. Because Harry's cooking for us, he's invited us into his home. He's cooking up a nice meal.
Aw.
He's like amnesia Harry, so he's not acting like a total creep by this point. He's just being nice. Like, I think it could be fun.
Yeah.
Like, I like this scene in the movie. I like, Toby's going through all this drama, and then we have a fun little scene of them cooking and kissing,
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you personally. Do you enjoy like cooking like dates or like cooking with your significant
I wouldn't do it
other?
on a first date, to be honest with you, but I've definitely had dates where I like go the second or third, like a girl will come over and like I've cooked them a meal.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do. It's like, regardless even if it's a date or not, I love cooking for other people, so it's nice. You get to share it.
I wasn't about it until I actually experienced it. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I do like this. And it depends on the individual because like I've done it. Actually, no, that's not true because the first time I did it, I didn't enjoy it with the other person.
Oh, okay.
And then I did it again and I liked this other person obviously a lot more. And that was great. We had a great time. Like
That's good.
It was good. The food was good. Yeah.
And I also like it because you're doing like crafts. It's like a fun little arts and crafts kind of day. Like you're inventing things, you're throwing things in the pot like Harry's doing with us. So, I think it's a good time.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I remember the first time I did it, I made a really shitty meal, but like the date was being very polite about it. You run that risk. It's got to be good food. What does Harry actually cook us? I'm trying to remember what he actually does. I think it's like some like stew kind of thing. Like they're just like throwing weird shit into a pot. I remember that from the movie.
What did you make though when the meal was really bad? That's what I want.
Oh, the really bad thing I made was just like this was a period in my life where I thought I was going to get bigger, so I was like bulking and that kind of stuff, which evidently didn't work if you've seen photos of me, listeners. And like
Amazing.
so what I
Keep
did,
going.
it was this like it was so bad. I literally for this girl who I ended up dating, she came over and I made like this like chicken, broccoli and rice combo. And I found out as well she was vegetarian, so she couldn't even eat the fucking chicken. But I didn't learn this until she arrived. So literally all she had literally was just chicken, was just broccoli and rice, and it was just it was so bad. It was so terrible. And like literally they were the only two ingredients. There was nothing else to add to that. It was just broccoli and rice.
No like sauce or anything, just like like broccoli and rice.
It was just
Okay, here's the next question. Was the broccoli well cooked?
No, it really wasn't. It was like
That was like
it was
it
bad.
was like
broccoli.
we're all broccoli.
So that's why I see
man.
Harry Osborn in Spider-Man 3 and I'm like, here's someone who knows what they're doing. They're cooking a good thing for us. We get a meal. We get a view of New York.
Yeah.
It's nice. So let's do this date.
Hey man, I think it's a great date, and I don't like the only thing about bad thing I think is that like Harry's got amnesia.
Yeah.
So
But that's good. We're not getting weird goblin Harry. We're getting amnesia Harry. So I reckon that's better.
has Harry ever been like a normal like dude in a conversation though? Like he's never been.
Probably
Like,
not.
No, okay. But I think you've picked the right one because like I don't want to go on the date with MJ because she does the weird wacky dance that like is clearly like the most horrible dancing I've ever seen.
It's so terrible.
And the look that dude,
That's saying something with a movie filled with bad dancing.
dude, the look that Franco gives her is absolutely priceless. It is literally one of the funniest moments.
It's like
in
this
cinema.
weird grin.
He just
like
he looks over his shoulder like
it's so stupid.
oh yeah, that's really great.
I remember like after they kiss, like she kind of wakes up from, she's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be kissing you, Harry. And Harry's like, yeah. He's just loving it. Like he's just in a good mood.
I like that when Harry like wakes up and he's all like, I've got amnesia, I don't remember anything. He's all like he's bouncing his basketball like in his mansion and he's all like to Peter, do I have a girlfriend? And Peter's like, no.
That's the thing he asks Pete out of everything. It's just like,
How disappointing. You're like, am I married? No, you
No.
don't have anyone. You're really lonely and depressed. Oh, thanks, Pete.
Harry's like, how old am I? It's kind of ambiguous in these movies.
Oh, so funny.
It's so good. I was almost considering the bloody birthday party that they throw Peter in the second movie, but I'm like, I don't know if that'd be a good date either. Like,
That's not a date.
no, that's the thing. There's so many things where that's just not datey. It's like I always considered as well when Peter took MJ to like the restaurant to propose, but I'm like, actually, that's not a good date either. There's just so many bad dates in these movies.
Absolutely. Can I also add that the date from the Spider-Man trilogy that I want to go on,
Oh.
just quickly, would definitely be a date that doesn't happen on screen. It's the story that Aunt May tells when Ben proposed to her.
With Uncle Ben.
Dude,
they go to the
heck
island.
yeah, man.
Actually, that's a great idea, Brenton. But we don't see the date.
Yeah, that's right. So it can't be included. But Uncle Ben had the moves.
Oh,
dude.
he did the right thing.
He was all about it. He knew what he was doing.
Uncle Ben was a player. But here's the thing as well. That's a quote. But here's the thing as well. I wouldn't want to go on a Spider-Man swinging date because as Far From Home showed with Zendaya, it would be fucking terrible. Like swinging on a Spidey vine.
This was another caveat with my Edward date is that I'm scared of heights.
Oh.
Like I'm
look at you.
genuinely scared of heights.
But maybe love would cure that.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I just need to go on a date with Pete, have him swing me around.
Oh,
let's get to my number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6. So number 6 is another bad date. This is probably the worst date on my list, actually, because it doesn't end well.
Okay.
But it does in the long term. But there's something about this that I think is like really still kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from Silver Linings Playbook.
Oh my God.
It's the diner date. When Bradley Cooper takes Jennifer Lawrence to have Sultana Bran or Raisin Bran as they call it, at this local diner. And they have some tea and some Raisin Bran. And then Bradley Cooper says, like, this is not a date. Now, I can't decide who I want to be more. I can't decide if I want to be Bradley and find out about Jennifer Lawrence's, like, all of her
history.
Yeah, her history with multiple partners after her husband died.
Yeah.
Or I want to sit there. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. I'm not going on the date with Bradley Cooper. I'll go on the date with
I would
Jennifer
much
Lawrence.
rather be on a date with Jen Lawrence over Brad Cooper. Like, you know.
Because, as we know, Bradley Cooper
because he's fucking unhinged in that movie. Like,
oh, dude, like, he'd be asking me to take a letter to his wife, you know, when he's got his restraining order, like, you know, I'd feel very uncomfortable. But I would take a leaf out of his book and I'd order some Raisin Bran because, dude, look, if you can get through a date with someone that you can sit down and have a bowl of cereal and, like, not have it be a thing and just sit there and have a nice time.
Yeah, you can enjoy the quiet moments. I'm a big fan of that.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah.
As a first date, maybe not.
I don't know. I think I'm not attracted to this date so much because I don't think it's that exotic. You know what I mean? Like, I try to think of what the selling point is besides being on a date with Jen Lawrence. You know what I mean? Like, what's so good about this date, Brenton?
I just said it's that, like, it's the everyday. I like that. I like that it's like, here, just come into my world, you know?
I get it, but I feel like you could do that with a lot of dates, Brenton, you know? Where you dive into this person's quirkiness, you know? Like,
my ideal, like, first date is just, like, grab my date and be like, hey, like, we're doing a day in the life of Brenton and, like, sit there, like, do your taxes. Like, they, like, try to talk to you and you're like, hey, sorry, I'm working, babe. Like, you know, I've got things to do. And you're, like, sitting there, like, fucking, like, writing up a document or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, hey, it'd be cool if we, like, went and got a coffee. And it's like, I already had one. Like,
like, I get that. I like that domestic kind of thing, you know?
yeah. Do some laundry. Like, go to a laundromat. And, like,
yeah, it's sweet, but I feel like that's not first date shit. You know what I mean? That feels like you get that with most dates, like going into the relationship. You know that you're doing that tedious.
In my defense, this isn't the top 7 first dates. It's the top 7 dates.
Oh, actually, you're very correct. You're very correct. So maybe we know Jen a little bit better. Okay, you know what? In that respect, sure, I'll go on this date with Jen Lawrence. But honestly, knowing how this relationship goes, I don't think I'll go on date number 2.
Oh yeah, are you going on date number 2 with Franco, by the way?
Oh, absolutely not. Jesus. Besides I'm getting my meal. I'm getting the fuck out of there. Like I'm thanking him for the meal and then leaving.
Dead set date number 2. You would go on a Goblin Glider.
Oh my God.
And
I don't want to walk out of his bedroom like to pee in the middle of the night and suddenly stumble upon his little like goblin hideout. Like I'd be raising some eyebrows. You know what I mean?
What? You go to his place, look in the mirror, and Willem Dafoe's looking back, and you're like, oh.
Oh, Willem, what are you doing here? He's like, avenge me. I'm like, oh, I don't want to hang around here. I would feel unsafe. I wouldn't want that. You know, he'd be getting in late at night. Also, just like Doc Ock visit him at one point. Like, I don't want that. Like,
that's true. Yeah, no one wants that. And like, you try to have a conversation with his butler, and he's all like, "The blade that pierced Harry's father's heart was from his glider." And you'd be like, "All right, cool, dude."
No, I wouldn't have a second date with James. Like, it just wouldn't work. So no. But like, would you have a second date with Jen? Would you want to keep going on that relationship?
I'd consider it. I think I would.
I mean, with Jennifer Lawrence, I would, but with that character, I would not. Like,
I think I would. I think I'd give... No, actually...
Do some dancing competitions.
You're probably right.
You know?
Me personally, yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. I'd do some dance classes for sure.
Oh, we
do
all
some
know that,
dance
mate.
training.
We've all seen you cut some shapes.
Oh, you know me. Cutting those barbecue shapes.
My number 6.
Yes.
My number 6, Brenton, is from a Coen Brothers film.
Which one?
It's from Hail Caesar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I love this date because we're on a date with Alden Heinreich, mate. And it's where I think that that Spanish actress or that Mexican actress, and we're on this date that the studio set up, and like Tilda Swinton's like, you know, trying to get a scoop on us and that kind of stuff. But at this really kind of cool, like this Copacabana kind of restaurant, and Alden Ehrenreich on this date, he's like doing fucking tricks for us. Like he's making like a lasso out of spaghetti. Like, Brenton, this looks like a great date.
I agree. Look, who are you being on this date? Are you going on the date with Alden?
Oh yeah, like I want him to do the kind of lasso. Like, doesn't he like get the fork with the like the lasso spaghetti at one point? Like,
dude, from memory, yes. Like, mate, if I'm sitting at a restaurant and the person I'm on the date with starts like being like, "Hey, I got skills," and starts practicing the lasso, like I'm like, man, like that's niche.
Yeah, that is very niche. That's a good story, and also like Alden, that character in that date, he's just so happy on that date. Like he's just so elated to be going out. Like I really like that character in that movie. I love how Caesar
seems like down to earth too.
Yeah,
too, dude. Like he seems like really like easy to talk to, and you know, be just a nice guy to hang out with.
Yeah. Thankfully he's not with Chewbacca. You know, we don't get that shit in this. So
yeah.
Like it's just him.
The only thing is that I do have a thing with people playing with their food. Like I think I'd be all fun for a bit, and then it'd be like don't eat that, dude. It's covered in bacteria now, and you'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I get that. So I'm sure I'd be amused with the first couple chicks, but then I'd be like, okay, Alden, put down the fucking spaghetti. It's like let's eat. You know what I mean? It's like
come on, Alden. Come here, boy.
Doesn't he leave the date at one point? I feel like it ends abruptly from memory.
I honestly, I can't remember.
Yeah, which you think I should have watched this before the episode, but yeah. But also another bad thing is that we do get Tilda Swinton and her twin bothering us a fair bit during this date.
That's right.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
You know what? I'm fine with that because I think I could handle that, and
I like a little bit of press.
Going. And I think it'd be a fun thing. Like this character, oh man, like you know that's quite funny, and I think it'd be okay.
I would like it. Would I go on a second date with Alden? Actually, maybe. You know what? Because he's a big movie star. You know, it's good for the studio. I'd go on a second date with Alden because it'd be fun. I reckon like he'd take. Doesn't he like, end up in that like house where like George Clooney is or whatever, or like?
Oh no, no, he doesn't.
Because like I know like George Clooney goes on like the little submarine into the distance. Oh, by the way, did we say spoilers for all these movies at the start?
We didn't.
Okay.
We didn't.
Sorry, listeners, if you're this far in, but spoilers for all the movies we talk about.
Yeah, if it wasn't apparent already.
Yeah, we're spoiling all of them, and also we're suspending our 20-year rule. That also wasn't apparent for this episode. Like we do all of our top 7 lists.
I think that was the first thing I said, but thanks for reminding us.
just covering all bases. But like, you know what I mean? So like, I feel like Alden would take us around LA. You know, probably like he'd take us to the other studios. We could watch Channing Tatum dance. You know, it could be fun. Scarlett Johansson is a mermaid. There'd be other things to do in this world. So I'll go on a second date.
Jonah Hill stamping some shit. Yeah, let's go on it.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
You would go on a first and second date with Alden?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at us. That's the first one we both love. So
sign me up.
Love it.
Let's get on to the number 5, which comes, mate. This is just a nice moment. This isn't even a date.
Ooh.
I wouldn't even class this as a date. I would class this as a date. It is though. It almost is. It's a date follows this. It's a nice gesture leading to date. So this is from 10 Things I Hate About You. This comes from my psychology of like, it's always nice to have someone do something nice for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's always nice to have someone give a gesture.
Mate, when you bring flowers to a recording, I'm such a fan.
Oh, dude, like, of course. 12 roses, make them white sometimes.
Great. Look, they're dead in the corner.
Don't remind me. Anyway, so Heath Ledger is the one giving us a nice gesture.
Ooh.
And I don't know if I would love this because it's quite public, but imagine just like, you know, you've gone to sports training on a Thursday afternoon at, you know, our school back in the day. You know, you're having a hard training session, you're playing some touch footy, you're on the wing and you're not getting the ball much and you're like, why the fuck am I here? And then suddenly, over like the school speaker system, you just hear Heath Ledger's voice start to sing Frankie Valli's You're Too Good to Be True.
Oh my God, wow. I'm blushing, Brenton.
It comes over the speakers and you go, oh gosh, where's he coming from? And you look up to the school and you see him sliding down the flagpole as he's like coming down. He's coming down the bleachers towards you, eyeballing you directly, like eyes on eyes. And then he finishes the first verse and then he signals and the school big band comes out of nowhere and starts like playing this song. And then he starts dancing up and down the bleachers and he goes into that awesome chorus and he starts like, I love you, baby. Like he's going into it, right? And you're like, and you're there going, this is like the best moment of my life. This is like the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. The school cracks down on it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
they're like, this shit can't fly.
Head of senior school. Yeah. He's like freaking out. He's like, oh gosh, this doesn't look good. He starts, you know, leading the chase as like the school teachers start trying to like tell Heath to stop doing, you know, this amazing thing for you. And so they're chasing him all over the bleachers. He stops singing. He's running away, trying to get away, but still dance at the same time. And everyone's laughing and going, oh my gosh, this is all for you, Brenton. And I'm there like going, oh, I know, this is like the nicest thing anyone's ever done for me. He runs down, slaps the head of senior school's ass on the way out. And then he like gets away and everyone cheers and applauds and goes, wow, that's Brenton's dude.
Dude, that's a good date.
That is just like...
That's how you woo someone, you know?
Man, what a moment.
That's really good. But here's the thing. I'm all for the first date, but how the hell would you top that on a second date? Like, the second date's only going to feel flat compared to that, right?
Mate, you'd have to have a bloody good conversation.
Yeah.
He'd better bring the flowers. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, mate.
Like, holy crap.
I'd do that first date, but I would have such a high expectation. Like, he would have, like, jumped the shark already. Like, what would you do?
I think that it is so memorable, though, that if things were to work out, like, what a story.
Oh, it would be pretty good. That's how I met your mother, you know?
I'd also like to state, you know, you asked the question, like, how does the second date, you know, match that? Out of all the dates we've listed so far, what second date would be worthy enough to match that? Is it Edward swinging through the trees?
You know what? I think it has to be intimate. I think you go the opposite direction. I think you go really small scale.
Okay.
Like, I'd do the cooking thing next, because, like...
Yeah!
You bring them into the home now, and now you show them the real you. You know, you get rid of all that jazz, and you go raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. So Heath Ledger then goes, all right, sweet babe, like, you know, I'm going to take you out for a sweet date. I'm not going to take you out. You're going to come to my place, and we're going to make stir fry.
Yeah.
You going? I'm going to that.
I'm going. Like, if he's
yeah.
cooking for me, you know, I think it'd be great. You know, he'd be like, let's put a smile on that face. I'm like, all right, let's do it.
I'm already smiling, Heath.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. Like,
it'd be great. Even if I rock up in second date and he's already in Joker makeup, I'm like, I'm still doing it. Like, you know, I'm all for that.
Oh, too funny.
Yeah, I'll be the Harley in that equation. I reckon that could be fun.
Approved, tick and approved. Thanks.
You know what's really funny, Brenton? As we're going through these lists, I realized I don't have a single rom-com in this, weirdly. So I like you're kind of ticking that off on your end. So good job.
I've got one more rom-com, I think.
Oh, mate.
Oh, no, two.
Oh.
No, one rom-com and one, I'd say, romantic movie, I guess.
Ooh.
It's not really a comedy.
Oh, okay. More to come, listeners.
Anyway, that's coming up next. Yeah, so what's your number 5?
Number
Nathan?
5, mate. We're in the movie Stardust.
I've never seen this.
What? Have you never seen Stardust?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Oh, it's such a good movie, Brenton. You got to sit down and watch it. It's on Netflix. It's great.
I know literally nothing about it.
It's fantastic.
Continue.
The movie Stardust is it's like set in like medieval times. It stars Charlie Cox, and there's like this really pretty girl in his like medieval town, and he wants to impress her. So like the scene in this movie is like the date that he sets up for her. He's like this like poor kind of like bread boy, and that works like a bakery or whatever. And so what he does, Brenton, is that he like organizes this like picnic like next to this tree on this hill, and he gets like this wine, this beautiful bread. It's very European. He sits out there one night, and he's trying to ask this chick out. She's very beautiful. We're going to be the girl in this equation, Brenton. And you know, it's this gorgeous picnic. There's great wine. There's great bread. We're sitting there, and the scene in the movie is that you watch a shooting star crash in the distance, and then the girl says to Charlie Cox, "You know what? If you want to marry me, go fetch me that star that's crashed into the earth." And so the plot of the movie is that Charlie Cox has to go on this like magical adventure across the land to pick up a falling star who may end up being also a beautiful woman. So, you know, things get complicated. And it's great.
So he might get the beautiful woman on his journey for the beautiful woman.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the plot of Stardust. It's fucking excellent. It's a good movie. Watch it.
It's like Inception, but it's like date Inception. You know,
exactly,
like
Dateception.
There's layers.
That's how it works. Charlie Cox was great in it, but that date in particular, where you're on a hill, imagine like the date from Up before she like, you know, collapsed on that hill at the start of the movie. Like imagine that kind of date, you know? They got
before she collapsed the hill.
You know the scene I'm talking about.
How could I forget?
You know, he's got the tickets to Buenos Aires. You know, imagine that kind of date, but like in medieval times.
Yeah.
And, like we're on a picnic with nice shit. I'd get around it, Brenton.
So, okay. Well, I'm around it, dude. It sounds like a nice time. It sounds like a romantic gesture. So I'm all for that. I would try it a second date and see where it went.
Yeah, I would too. Because I think like Charlie Cox, he's really keen on this chick in this movie. So if we're the step in for that, I feel like he's going to be a good, loyal hard worker for us. Also, we're rich for memories.
Okay.
So, you know.
Okay, right. But is he too desperate?
Maybe. So we're going to have to like really like, you know, reel him in, if that makes sense.
I see. Yeah, reel him in, fish style.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, but you know, a good healthy relationship is all about balance. So, you know, you want to kind of put Charlie Cox in his place, you know? You don't want him to be below you.
All right, moving on to number 4. Nathan, we've reviewed this film on the show before, so you'll be very familiar with it.
I'm so happy to go back. Pokemon the first movie, which scene?
It's not really a scene because it's the whole movie. It's the whole of Before Sunrise.
Oh, I had a funny feeling you're going to pick this, right? I was tempted. Also, I was tempted because have you seen Sunset and Midnight as well?
No, I'm waiting.
Oh, I hear you. Oh, mate, you're going to be waiting for a while for those movies. But yeah, Before Sunrise, mate. See, I was going to pick this, but I thought it actually wouldn't be a good date, Brenton. So you tell me first why it would be a good date.
This is the most romantic fucking thing ever, dude.
Oh,
look,
yeah.
This is like, you first have the balls. And by the way, we're being Ethan Hawke.
I was about to say,
right?
we should be Ethan Hawke in this, yeah.
So you have the balls. Like, I wish I had the balls to go up to someone and be like, get off this train with me now. We're going to this place.
We're going to Vienna.
And we're just gonna spend some time there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Wherever it is.
Weirdly, Richard Linklater is like following us with the camera, but okay.
Like, you're at the airport, right? And you're like, don't get on the flight. I'm some stranger. Come with me. Let's just spend a day
Mate, if
together.
Ethan Hawke said that to me in real life, I'd say yes.
Oh, same.
Ethan Hawke's like, don't get on that plane. I'm like, Ethan Hawke? Okay, sure.
Dude, this is a heck of a date. This is just like...
There's a lot that happens.
I don't even need to describe it. Like,
literally, just go back to our episode and listen to that, listeners. It's like back in the 20s, I think we reviewed it.
Yeah, what a way to sell us, Nathan. Good on you.
Oh,
mate.
there we
Like,
go. Listen more to this podcast. But tell you what, like, yeah, it's very romantic, right? Yeah, so he's like walking around Vienna, you know, they go to a bar, they fall in love, all that kind of shit. They talk about philosophy on a bus. All that I'm for, Brenton. But there are some not so okay things that are on this date that I think would break it for me, personally.
Such as?
Okay, there's that weird German kind of pair of blokes that like we keep bumping into who are really kind of badgering us to see their fucking play.
Yeah, man.
Like, I'm no fan of that, Brenton. I'm no fan of that. Secondly, I reckon I'd be tired. Walking around Vienna all fucking night, it's like I know they fall asleep at points, but like, you know, I like a stroll, but that feels like it'd be a fucking mission.
I'm usually the one that, out of the two of us, that wants their sleep. But I will say this. Sometimes, man, you don't need it. Sometimes you're just with someone, you're having a good time, and you're like, this is worth it, you know? This is happening, this is real.
I like it.
Let's just enjoy the moment.
Wait,
dude,
does that mean we have to write the poem for Julia Densby? Or like when they go to see that poet? Or is it the poet that writes it? I always forget.
I can't remember.
Yeah. But there's poetry,
I
feel like Ethan Hawke on the spot is just like, you're the best person ever or something like that. So like, we'd have to do some poetry at one point, Brenton. So you have to be ready for that.
Yeah. So controversially, I got something to add here though.
Okay.
Like, because the way we're going to have to vote this is not whether you get the second date or not. It's whether or not you return a year later or whatever it is. Was it a month later? Whatever it is. It's like in
I think it's like, let's be here this... I think it's like this time next year, I think they say, from memory.
Do you go back or not?
See, the date's so perfect, I kind of don't want to do that. And by the way, spoiler alert for... Actually, no, I really can't say that because that's a spoiler for the sequel, which you haven't seen yet, Brenton. So I won't say it because it'll be good for you to get that surprise. But knowing what happens in the sequel, I don't want to say yes to that second date. I think I'd leave it at the memory.
Okay, because I'm the same.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go back.
I wouldn't go back as well. I'd be like, thank you, Julia Densby. It's been great that you said yes to this, but like, you know, I get anxiety. I'm like, fuck, I'd have to like get the flight the next day. It's like, you know, I like knowing what's ahead in that sense. It's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that if I was on that date, I would not have suggested the whole, let's not exchange contact details. I would have been like, hell yeah, man. Like, you know, let's exchange details and who knows.
It's 2021. It's like, I'd be adding them on social media like immediately. It's like, you know, it's great. I'm all for that. So I wouldn't do the first date, to be honest with you. It's like, also, if that's my one day in Vienna, I wouldn't want to just like have that. I'd want to actually do some more shit, you know? Like, I've been to Vienna before, Brenton. There's a lot to see in that city.
That's a heck of a memory though, man. That's a heck of a memory.
Look, you can have joy. You can do that day, Brenton. Have a good time. I'm going to be going to the opera instead and just watching some classical music.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks for reminding me that I have free will. And I will go on that date. Thanks very much.
Fantastic. All right. Well, you know what? I like that you've chosen the theme of overseas, Brenton, for our number 4s.
Oh.
So like...
Oh.
Well, you, Brenton...
We're going international again.
We're going international,
going?
Brenton. Well, you are off in Austria. I'm going to fucking Japan, mate. That's where we're going next.
What movie are we talking about?
Because the date night, one of the best dates I think that's in cinema is from Lost in Translation.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, you haven't seen it? How have you not seen Lost in Translation, Brenton? Listeners, bully Brenton on social media, on the Insta, on the Twitter. Bully Brenton for not seeing Lost in Translation.
Nathan's inviting the trolls. That's how serious he is.
Look,
mate, I think we've had this talk on the show before, but I haven't seen it.
There we go. Wow. I mean, I can see why you might be against it, because, you know, you're still reeling from Sofia Coppola and Godfather 3.
I will watch it one day. I hear good things.
Oh, mate, it's so fucking good. And everyone says it's good, but it's even better than you think. Like, it's so goddamn genius. Like, it's Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. If you don't know, listeners, they're in bloody Japan, and they're both miserable. They're like stuck in this hotel, and you know, they're kind of, you know, separated from their respective partners, and they're just kind of like, feck, like, we're traveling all the time. Like, Bill Murray is, Scarlett Johansson's actually just staying in Japan, being like, this is fucking boring. And so like, they're both miserable, and like maybe 2/3 through the movie, it's not really much of a spoiler, but they finally decide to go on a date with each other after like meeting. By the way, this is like a really posh hotel. If I was to akin it to a hotel you might know, Brenton, you know, in Inception, where like Leo wakes up in that hotel and he
man.
It's like that kind of hotel. There's a scene where Bill Murray takes Scarlett Johansson out, and like they just go to this bar and they're just drinking and giggling. They end up at a karaoke night with all these Japanese businessmen, and they're like just singing their hearts out, and they're like, you know, hanging out with all these cool like Japanese artists. Like he knows all these photographers, so like because Bill Murray's there to do a commercial, so he knows all these like artsy people in Japan. It looks like such a good time, dude. I'm all for a karaoke date. I think it's a great idea. So karaoke date. Now, are we going to go karaoke dating with Bill Murray or Scarlett Johansson? And my immediate thought is I want to karaoke with Bill Murray.
Wow. Okay. Right. Actually, I'm probably with you there. To be honest, like.
So I think from memory, Scarlett Johansson's actually the one that introduces him to the business people. But like, and like, obviously it'd be great to go on a date with Scarlett Johansson. But like, I feel like Bill Murray, he's the one that's really depressed in this, and he kind of comes out of his shell in this scene. So it'd be great to see him kind of come alive in this moment. I'm all for it.
Yeah, man. Like this sounds really good. Like I'm genuinely impressed by this date, and I kind of want to watch this scene.
Karaoke in Tokyo, man. It's like, what a better date. What better date could you go on? It's great.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of like dates and like dining and karaoke in Tokyo, what's the bet that like, you know, you're in the karaoke room, you're having to sing, and then suddenly like a blow up Pikachu like bursts into the room and starts like dancing around or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like Japan, like Tokyo specifically, like you see restaurants and it's like Pikachu dance hour, and Pikachu like comes out and everyone's like, yeah, it's like crazy.
But I don't know, like because I've been to Tokyo in real life, it's like Tokyo is so fun. It's like one of the biggest cities in the world. Like there's like areas like that, but honestly, like with this area of Tokyo that they're in, it's kind of like the more chill kind of like, you know, it's like it's kind of divorced from all that kind of manic side of Tokyo that you kind of see from the outside. Like this is the real Tokyo, Brenton. This ain't your bloody like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift Tokyo. You know, this is the kind of cool, sexy upper market kind of side of it.
All right, I like what you're selling. I think this is gonna be a good date.
I don't know if I'd do a second date with Bill Murray, to be honest with you.
Probably not.
I felt like Ethan Hawke. I feel like it'd be a fun, just a one-time thing, and then I feel like he'd just slip back into depression afterwards. So I'm like, I don't want that.
Well, Nathan, that brings us to number 3.
The top 3. I like it.
And number 3 is my top number 3 is from another film we have reviewed in the past.
Ooh.
From a Tarantino flick called
Pulp Fiction.
You may have heard of it.
Yes.
I just couldn't leave this off. I wanted desperately to leave this off the list, but I couldn't.
I was always going to put it on my list as well, actually.
I had to have it on here, and the reason is because it kind of all speaks to me. You know?
I hear it. You know what I'm noticing as well, Brenton? I'm noticing that dancing is a very recurring theme in our list so far.
Yeah.
We love a dance.
So I'm going to be Johnny Depp. I'm going to be Hitman Johnny Depp.
You mean John Travolta, you mean?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, God.
It'd be great if Johnny Depp was in Pulp Fiction.
Can you imagine if Johnny Depp was in... No. If Johnny Depp was in Pulp Fiction, what character would he play?
He would be in the sex dungeon. He would be... You know what I mean? He would be the guy who owns the shop. That would 100% be Johnny Depp. He like beats up Bruce Willis. You know what I mean? And Ving Rhames.
I think that's a really good pick for casting.
Just Johnny Depp's just like there, like in like the gimp suit, just like he'd do it.
I could almost see him as Harvey Keitel's role as well.
Oh yeah, but he'd be too young in the 90s.
No. I reckon he's a good replacement for Quentin Tarantino in that film.
Oh my God, there's a dead one in my garage. I'm trying to drink my coffee, but there's a dead one in my car. It's like, it'd be great in his little dressing gown. Oh.
Yeah, dude. And he's always just going about how good his coffee is.
Yeah.
I know my coffee's fucking good because I get it, man. I pick it out. You don't need to tell me how good my fucking coffee is. I know how good my fucking coffee is.
But I love it. Do you reckon like people do that when like when Tarantino like gets a coffee at like a cafe? Do you reckon they do that thing to him? Like he gets it all the time.
Absolutely. Oh. So man, like, is it a good coffee? Yeah, man. I like your coffee. Don't tell me how good my fucking coffee is. I know how good my fucking coffee is.
I wonder if like Tarantino's picky with his coffee in real life. I reckon he's got like the soy milks and all that kind of shit. I reckon he's one of those.
Nah, man. I reckon he has like oat milk. I reckon he's that type of guy.
Let's ask him. Let's find him on Twitter. Like, what coffee do you get, Quentin?
Let's have a Zoom session with Tarantino.
I love it.
How wild would that be?
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh boy.
Tell us what it's like being shot by Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
But this is a great date, Brenton. This is a really good date. I'm glad you picked it. We haven't even said what the date is yet. Because it's when they go to the diner,
Burgers, Buscemi. Yeah, man. Yeah. Burgers, Buscemi, boogieing, and milkshakes.
Oh, what a combo. But here's the thing. Is John Travolta taking us out, or are we Uma Thurman?
No. We are taking Uma Thurman out.
Oh, I like it.
Because I'm not going... Because the thing with Johnny Boy is that he doesn't want to get up and dance.
That's true.
I'm going to get up and dance straight away.
Yeah,
I'm going to be like, man, let's win that trophy, dude. Like, let's get it going, you know. And do the twist.
Oh, mate, I'd be keen for that. And it's great because...
Dude, Buscemi is your waiter.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
holy crap.
I would love Steve
Dressed
Buscemi
as Buddy
as my
Holly.
waiter.
Oh, amazing.
I'm all for it. I'd be like, how did that business in Fargo go, mate? Like, how's the wound? Like, it'd be great. I'm all for that as well. But like, here's the thing: I like this date so far, but we know how it ends, Brenton, and that's my caveat. Because we also have taken Uma Thurman out, by the way, so she still goes through a little seizure.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
I said at the start of the show that some of these dates end badly, like
That's
the aftermath, like after the date is bad. That is, I would consider that after
That's
the
true.
date.
The date's ended because he's already dropped her off at the house by that point, so we don't have to come in.
That's right.
You know, we could just leave her there.
That's right. We're just going to drop her at the door and she can OD.
But that means there's not going to be no second date because she's dead. Like,
gosh.
Also, we get shot as well, by the way. So like, there's no second date ever. Like,
What a story though of like this girl that came over to your place. Also, like you've got like, you know, what is it? What does he have? Is it heroin? What has he got?
oh, it's like a speedball, I think, that they have. I think it's a mix. Like,
It's something, yeah. Because then she snorts it and it just destroys
just fucks her up. Yeah, it's just like I don't want that. It's like,
what a great scene.
it is a good.
Yeah, neither
scene.
do I.
Yeah,
But it has a happy ending, to be fair. Like, I mean, she survives. She gets the adrenaline shot to the heart.
she does, and that would be a wild story, you know, if we were with them and just like waking up being like, oh, where are we? And there's John Travolta peering over us. Like, that's a good thing, Brenton. If we're John Travolta, we get to do the meme of like the confused look around, so we get to be a meme.
Yeah.
That's a selling point.
The positives, right?
Yeah, I like this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I you know what? ODing aside, I would do the first date because it's great, but I wouldn't do that second.
Dude,
date.
I would too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do a second date because it's Marcellus Wallace's wife. Like, are you kidding me? I'm not messing with that guy.
There's
No
already
way.
such a risk doing the first date as well. Like, we get fucked over.
Exactly.
Also, did we go to France? You know, we had a nice little trip to France before this movie. You know, we're
Yeah.
cultured. We have shit to talk about. Like,
Yeah, dude.
it'd be great.
We went to France and had a Royale with cheese.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All was well.
Nathan, what's your number 3?
Number 3, mate. All right. We're diving into the world of Harry Potter, Brenton.
Oh yes, we are.
Yeah, boy. I genuinely didn't think I had to put Harry Potter on this list, but as I was sucking through the dates, I'm like, no, you know what? There is a really good date in this movie I would genuinely love to go on. And it's in The Half-Blood Prince, Brenton. And it's when Harry takes Luna to Slughorn's party.
Yes.
I think this is a great
Yes.
date. I think this is my personal opinion, this is the third best date in cinema. Because I love how this date goes. Because like, one, you got Slughorn's party, which is a exclusive party in Hogwarts Castle. You know, the who's who are rocking up to this party in Half-Blood Prince.
Absolutely.
We're Luna, so we're still in that weird ass dress, but we're still going. So we're on the outside of this little club. We rock up, Brenton, and it's great. You know, we're in the company of friends. There's good little quiches everywhere. You know, Slughorn's just, you know, spinning some yarns. And it's great. And we're on a date with Harry Potter. This would be great. We get to, you know, ask Harry how shit's going. It's like, how's the hunt for Horcruxes, all that kind of stuff. So, like, I think this is fun. We're in Hogwarts Castle, Brenton. You're having a date in Hogwarts Castle.
Dude, I don't have much to add except that I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime experience and you have to go. You have to let Harry take you out.
Yeah. I remember how he asks her as well in the film, because remember how he does it in the book, but like...
I thought it was a hard cut. I thought it was like a thing of like, who could you possibly take? And then it like
Oh yeah,
shows
it cuts
them
to
at the
Luna.
door
That's
and he's
right.
got
Yeah.
Luna.
Because
Yeah.
I remember in the book he asks her out really awkwardly because he's like, all of his options have been exhausted. Like, he does it really badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, and he just runs into her and is like, oh yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You want to go with me? And she's like,
Yeah, he's like, remember that time like you rescued me from like having my nose bled out in the train? She's like, yeah, I remember that. I think, you know what? In this whole franchise, Harry just asks dates out terribly. Like, he always asks out a girl badly. He just can't do it.
and the only person and the only girl he can get is his best friend's sister.
Jesus, mate. It's like, wow, you're really aiming in the family, aren't you, mate? Like, it's...
Nah, Ginny. Book Ginny's great. Book Ginny is great. Film Ginny not so much, but Book Ginny's great.
She
Like,
is
good
very
on you,
good.
Harry.
Yeah, it's like also
Yeah.
I remember him asking out Jenny in the book really weirdly because like she's just broken up with like McLagan or whatever it is. No, like
Well, he doesn't.
Thomas,
He doesn't
that's
ask
right.
her out. He doesn't ask her out at all. He finishes. It's the whole thing is that he's been banned from the Quidditch game, and he's up in the dormitories, and he's going, "Oh God, did they win the game?" And then she comes in, and it's like. It's all like the monster in Harry's chest, like roared.
oh
And he
Jesus!
kisses and-
I remember JK writing that the monster in his chest. Oh, that's some Twilight shit. What are you doing, JK?
That was absolutely terrible. That was absolutely awful.
I remember being as a young boy thinking, is this what love feels like? Is that actually how you describe it? Like, jeez.
I read that and I was like, this woman's got no clue. This woman has absolutely no clue.
Oh god, that's
How
terrible.
weird is that? I tell you what would be even stranger would be listening to like Stephen Fry, who did the
just say
audiobooks to that, like read those lines.
Oh. The monster in her chest. Like, oh god, I can't.
The monster in her chest.
Oh, I can't do that. But like, you know what? I like the Slughorn party because like, and you know what? It's like Snape's there, like, you know, keeping an eye on Harry. That's the thing. We have to hang with Harry the whole time. Harry's like bloody hiding behind curtains, all that kind of shit. So like, we're just mingling with the other students.
What's the name of the Dick Griffin?
Connor McLagan or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, like when he like spews all over Snape's robe.
See, I want to
like,
see that
fun.
shit. I want to watch that. It'd be funny.
Oh yeah, and then you get the whole insight into like, you know, that Draco's there to kill Dumby.
Yeah.
So, you know, like that's good to know.
This is all good, man. And the food looks good. Hogwarts food's always good. So I'm all for this party. There's good music. I'm liking this.
I am too.
Yeah.
Should be a good night.
Second date. I don't know if I want to go on a second date with Harry. He's got too much baggage. But, you know, I'm glad for this one experience we had.
Thanks, Harry, for taking me to Hogwarts. That's where it ends.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
that's where we draw the veil.
Nice night. And I think he'd be happy too. I think he'd be happy to leave it alone.
Yeah, also, I get the fuck out of that castle. It's way too dangerous. Even though, Brenton, we concluded that Hogwarts is the home we want to live in. That's the thing. We keep going back to our own quarters. Like,
yeah, man.
That'd be great. I could see you and me living in Hogwarts, just like trying to break into this party. We're like, no, we're part of the Slug Club. It's like, Gordon's like, who are you again?
We're muggles. We're from Australia.
I said, here's the thing. I think we'd make up some, like, because Slughorn loves accomplished students. I reckon we'd make up some bullshit story about us being like famous Australians. And Slughorn would totally buy it.
Absolutely. Well, we are famous Australians. What are you talking about?
Touche, Brenton. Touche.
Nathan, we're up to number 2.
Here we go.
We're up to the big boys. My number 2 is from a little romantic comedy called Hitch, starring Will Smith.
Oh, okay. I've not seen Hitch. That's an interesting choice.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I've heard of it in name, but yeah. Tell me about Hitch, Brenton. Do you get hitched in Hitch?
I quite enjoy this movie. Maybe I do. Will Smith is taking us out on a date. Right? It's been a long thing. We don't really like to date, you know, like, you know, out of our circle or whatever. It's like a big thing that this rando guy's just like turned up and like asked you out, and it's like, fine, I'll go on a date with you. You rock up to the point in New York City that he's asked you to go to, right? You've gone to the banks of the river and you're like, oh gosh, what are we doing? A walk along the river? How unique. No, but mate, Will Smith is there and he's got a wetsuit ready for you.
Oh, wow.
And a life vest. And he's like, and he's got 2 jet skis.
Oh my God.
He's like, mate, we're jet skiing down the Hudson.
Holy shit.
So you get on the jet skis, right?
Yeah.
And you start jet skiing away. And then you start noticing that he's like, you know, he's taking you around and about and you're having a good old time. He splashes you a bit. And then all of a sudden, his jet ski breaks down and, you know, he has to get on your jet ski as well. So you're sharing a jet ski now with Will Smith. And he suddenly goes, oh, head towards that bank there. And you're like, wait, what? Mate, he's taking you a day trip to the Statue of Liberty via jet ski.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah, man.
That is extraordinary, Brenton. I'm all for this date.
That's a heck of a date.
Oh my God.
That's a heck of a
That's
date.
pretty cool, dude.
Will Smith is on personal terms with the security guard at this Statue of Liberty.
Oh, nice.
So you get a personal tour, historical tour of the whole site.
Oh, that's so good. We get to like, you know, jump the queue. We don't have to like do like all those lines.
As well as that, afterwards you finish your tour and you just get to sit and chat to Will Smith, like eating some baked goods, I'm pretty sure from memory, like on the banks of the Hudson, like, you know, below the Statue of Liberty.
Mate, I am all for this. This is great.
How impressive is that? Just to say that out loud, like that is S grade date.
That's one of the best dates I think I've ever heard of. That's like so cool. Like,
mate, number 1 must be wild. Them, and am I right?
Oh,
like,
mate, you're hyping
boy.
me up. I would go on this first date. Does it go well in this movie? Like, do I want to go on a second date with Will Smith?
It goes well to an extent.
Ooh.
There's something that happens in the Statue of Liberty because one of his little things wouldn't happen because it's us.
Okay.
Yeah, so he organizes because he finds out that like there's like some historical records there, and there's a family members of her that's like on the thing, and he gets the security guard to like be like, oh, because she's like, oh, I remember like there was a family member that was this, and it actually brings up some bad memories.
Oh, okay, but thankfully we are her, so like we get to supersede that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're fine. We don't have to do that shit.
Mate, I'm all for that.
But how caring is Will Smith to think of that? So it makes me want to go on that second date and see, you know, what he's got planned.
I like that, and like, obviously he's connected. You know, if he can organize all this,
Yeah,
so there's
man.
probably a whole bunch of New York that we could see in this.
Oh boy, yeah, nothing like NYC.
Well, mate, I'm all for that. Let's keep seeing Will Smith.
Dude, that was the easiest yes ever.
I know.
Yeah,
there's not much to add to that. Like, I can't critique it. It's a perfect date.
well, I want to hear what your number 2 is then.
You're gonna fucking love this. So my number 2.
Oh no.
My number 2. It's a franchise movie, Brenton. My number 2.
Oh no.
My number 2 is from the 2005 film Fantastic Four.
What the fuck?
I like some out of left field choices on all my top 7 lists.
Oh no.
And I genuinely believe this.
Oh, I know what this is too. Keep going.
The second best date, I think, in cinema, truly, because I'd love to do it, is when Johnny Storm is like in the little testing facility after they've gotten their powers, you know, the Human Torch, and he asks out one of like the security chicks, like the army chicks out on this like date, and he's just come out of the shower, you know, he's steaming hot and all that kind of stuff, and he's like, let's go on a fucking date. So the date that Johnny Storm takes us out on is that we go heli skiing.
Yeah,
he
man.
takes us to this mountain, like this gorgeous mountain where there's no one. We're snowboarding down this like mountain to ourselves with like the Human Torch, and he's like just discovering his powers. So as like we're like snowboarding down, he suddenly like becomes a fucking like human like fireball and like flies through the sky and then like lands in the snow and makes this like little like hot tub like in the middle of the snow. And he's laying in like the water and like we've pulled over, and for some reason the chick like really doesn't react to this. Like she's just like, okay, that's a thing that just happened.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there in the water and he's like, well, I mean, you know, while we're here, I want to jump in. And so we get a hot tub in the snow, Brenton, in our own little forest. How good of a date is that?
Nathan, it sounds pretty remarkable. Can I just clarify who we are on the date?
We're the girl in the date, right? So
oh, absolutely. I'm any excuse to go out with like Johnny Storm, played by Chris Evans.
mate,
Like for
go
sure.
Chris Evans. What a treat.
For me personally, I can't ski. I've never skied. I've never snowboarded, but I'd be happy for him to teach me.
Oh, same. Let's presume you're able to do this. I feel like he wouldn't take us heli skiing if like, well, on the helicopter, like, by the way, we don't know how to do this. Like, because heli skiing is fucking difficult. Like, so I've been skiing a lot in my life, and like heli skiing is like a whole other level of difficulty. So like, because it's not groomed tracks, you're on this very raw mountain, so you have to be trained. Like, you have to know your shit. So I'm gonna presume we know what we're doing, Brenton. But what a cool day! Like, one of my close family friends, he proposed to his now wife doing heli skiing, and yeah, it was fucking incredible. He took her to Canada, and like they went down like the snow, and he found like a little cave, and he pulled over into it, and then he got on one knee and asked her to marry him. Like, it was fucking perfect. So like, I know how this shit goes, Brenton, and to do that with the Human Torch, like, what a treat.
Wow, you've really sold me. Wow, that could be the second best date in cinema.
I think it is. I think it is. For such a shitty movie, like, it's such a great moment. I'm just like, it's really good. So I'm all for this date, Brenton.
Mate, I'm all for it too. You've convinced me.
I'm so glad. Mate, we're going heli skiing. How fun. But in saying that, date number 2 with the Human Torch, I don't think this goes in good directions, Brenton. Remember in like the Rise of the Silver Surfer movie, remember like he rocks up to the wedding with like his girlfriend and like interviewing the girlfriend? And she's like, oh, you need like fireproof underwear. I'm like, I don't want any of that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, I forgot about that line. Oh,
jeez,
boy.
it's horrendous.
That's terrible.
Thanks,
writing.
Yep. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be like sitting in bed with like Chris Evans reading a book before I go to sleep and suddenly like the whole fucking bed's on fire. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't need that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to have to always be lying there and have like the fire extinguisher ready to go. You know what I mean?
I'd be paranoid. I'm like, remember we were on the mountain, Johnny? And he's like, yes. I'm like, let's just go back to then, you know, in simpler times. Like, I don't want a second date with him.
Okay, I think that's a pretty spectacular, like, first and only date then.
Yeah. I think that'd be fun because also we don't see that character again after the date. So like, imagine like the story should tell. It's like, yeah, this is my first date with the Human Torch, and like, whoa, like what a story.
But it'd be the only caveat with that is that there'd be a constant reminder that you'd been on this date with this guy because he's always in the news. It's like, oh, for fuck's sake,
this fucker, yeah. So that's date number 2. So we're ready for the big ones, Brenton.
Well, let's go to date number 1.
Here we go.
The big boy. Oh, the final.
This is the one we're all getting doled
frontier.
up for. The big dress. We're all dressing up for it. This is the best date in cinema, in our opinions, that we want to go on.
I reckon. Hands down, in my opinion, this is number 1. Best date in cinema. It's from WALL-E.
It's from WALL-E?
Yeah.
That's so funny. You've chosen WALL-E. And mate, I so agree with you. This is the best date.
This is date number 1. Like, this is the best one.
This is his first date. Also, this is his first date ever. He's never dated before.
The only caveat is that your partner isn't conscious for it. So that's a bit weird. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So are we WALL-E or Eva in this equation where we're on Earth?
So I really thought about this because if you're Eva, like, you're not conscious, right?
But the thing, if we are Eva, we are conscious. See, we're actually participating in the date with WALL-E as he's taking us around like garbage-ridden Earth.
I want to be WALL-E on this date.
I hear you. But the easiest date, I mean, she's with you whether you like it or not. Like
Yeah, I mean, like, I want to be WALL-E because I want to have thought of something this nice to do for someone.
Okay.
Like, this is spectacular.
This is amazing. Like,
he protects her from all the elements. He takes lightning bolts.
Takes a
like,
bolt of
to
lightning.
his chest, like,
he gets sucked away by the magnets at one point, like as the shopping trolleys like
That's
charge
right.
over him.
He rows, like, you know, like,
oh, yeah.
through a canal. Like, you know, he rows her through a canal. He dresses her up. He puts her in light bulbs and stuff. He takes her to this beautiful sunset. I'm all about the sunsets too.
Mate.
You've got to have a beautiful sunset, and it just wins everything, wins all the awards, and he holds her hand.
Oh,
it's just beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Mate.
The jazz music in this is extraordinary. Like, I think it's La Vie en Rose by Louis Armstrong that plays from memory.
Yes,
it's a magical scene, and WALL-E's just a one of Pixar's best. Like, it's so fucking good. But like, I remember like falling in love with Eva and Wally in this. Like, you really ship the couple, and I love it when you see Wally watching Guys and Dolls. Not Guys and Dolls. I'm sorry, watching Hello Dolly. He's watching Hello Dolly on the TV. Yeah, and he's doing the little dance and all that. Like, there's such a childlike discovery to it all. Yeah. Here's the thing, Brenton. If we're Wally, right?
Yes.
Well, we're standing in for Wally, I should say. So I'm thinking practically, we can't breathe, right? If we're ourselves, we'd be standing on the planet and immediately like suffocate from the CO2, correct?
Similar to your thing with the heli skiing, maybe we have protective gear.
Okay.
Maybe we have...
So we're in a little spacesuit, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're in a little spacesuit with Eva, and like, but here's the thing, I'd rather be with Wally, because I feel like it'd be more fun to be with.
You're probably right.
Eva's a boring day.
I will be Eva.
Yeah.
I just wish I had the ability to think of something this nice for someone.
Oh, yeah.
This is just like amazing what this little guy does.
Oh, you love him for it.
Oh gosh, yeah. Would you go on date 2 with Wally then?
Oh, absolutely. Wally would do anything for Eva. Like, and he does. Like, he goes to space to save her and all that kind of stuff. So like, I would love to go on this date. You know what I mean? Like, I'd probably say, can you keep your cockroach friend at home? I wouldn't be a fan of that. You know, like, I don't want him coming on the date with us. But
can you keep your cockroach friend at home?
I don't want that.
Oh, too funny.
Like, but you know, I like this date. I think, you know, suffocating aside and like how ugly the planet is, I think it'd be really fun. There's so much activities.
Yeah.
I love a date with activities, Brenton, and this is the most like activity-filled date I think we've had.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 1, and I'm going on date number 2 for sure.
Fantastic.
So thanks, Wally. Can't wait to see what's inside your cube next time. Anyway, Nathan,
my number 1.
What's your number 1?
The best date I think that is in cinema is one that we've reviewed on the podcast.
Oh boy, what could it possibly be?
And it's one that we did last year. And I didn't think this was going to be the best date, but the more I thought about it, I'm like, actually, you know what? Out of everything I've seen in cinema, this is the one I actually want to go on. And it's the date from Guys and Dolls, Brenton.
Oh, mate. It's up there. It's totally up there.
It's funny.
I totally get it,
I remember
dude.
in the episode, I remember shitting on it, thinking like, this is like fucking ridiculous, where Marlon Brando takes
Sarah Brown.
Thank you, Sarah Brown out. Like, he asked her out in New York to come with him to Cuba that night. Let's go on a date to fucking Cuba, and we'll go to this like big like samba kind of like exotic dinner thing where there's dancing and rhythm and all that kind of stuff. And on this exotic night, we'll stroll on the moonlight and then come back to New York. Oh, make sure you're home in New York by the morning. It's funny, like in the context of that movie, because I didn't like that movie. I was in that very like, I'm gonna shit on this kind of headspace. But now with hindsight, Brenton, this is the best day in cinema. Like, the fact that we are going to this exotic nation all in the one night, and the fact that he gets us home in the morning, I'm just along for the ride.
What a gentleman, you know? Like, what a guy. And like, you know, there's everything in this date. You know, there's brawling.
Yeah, we get in a bar fight at one point.
The bar drinks that they have, like the cocktails, look amazing.
Oh, the drinks look so good. See, as far as like bars, food, and all that, like all these top 7 lists we've done before, it's kind of like the combination, Brenton.
And there's dancing as well.
Yeah.
Like, you get to dance and like have like different dance partners and hang out and have fun.
It's great. Marlon Brando's looking out for us the whole night. So when we get too drunk, it's like, by the way, because we're the girl, obviously.
Yeah.
We're taken care of in that kind of sense, you know? It's
absolutely.
It's great. There's great conversation. It's everything I'd want in a date.
It is a great pick. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think that it's practically perfect.
Yeah.
Much respect, man.
I really love it, and it's just great. We get Marlon Brando at his, you know, least intense side. We get that vulnerable kind of side to him. So it's great. We know how it ends. I'd go on a second date because we know how that relationship gets better. So
same. I would go on all the dates with Marlon from that movie.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be great. He's bloody doing better than Frank Sinatra, waiting for years to get married. Like, Marlon just does it straight away. So
he commits.
Only good things come from this relationship, Brent.
Absolutely, Nathan. What a list we both brought.
But we've been on some good dates today. I tell you what, we've got some phone numbers in our pockets. We've had some food, some drinks. We're feeling pretty good.
We've got some enemies now. You know what I mean? We've got some people that like never want to see us again, and we probably don't want to see them again either. So
tell you what, when we go on our next date in real life, Brenton, we're gonna have some stories to tell about some previous dates that we've been on.
Absolutely.
When the girl asks us,
and that's
like,
what's the most important thing.
I did have a girl ask me once on a date, like, oh, what's one of the best dates you've been on? Which, by the way, is one of the worst things you can ask during a date because it puts that current date in perspective. So never do that.
Yeah.
But she asked me once. But now if that ever happens again, Brenton, I've got some stories to tell.
Absolutely.
Could you imagine in real life if I said, like, I went on a date with, like, Tobey Maguire? She'd be like, what?
I went on a date with a sentient robot in the future.
She'd like, this is a red flag. Bye-bye.
I also run this podcast called Classic Movie Banter, and it's really fun. You should totally listen to it.
Yeah.
And she's probably listening right now.
I did. You know what, Brenton? I did do that once on a date, on a first date.
Oh,
I remember, like, because I normally don't, like, you don't open with the fact you run a podcast. You want to find about the person before the profession. You know, in general, I always just like talking about jobs on dates. It's just so fucking boring. Like, what do you do? It's like,
absolutely.
Oh, but I remember the date was not going well once, and I did just mention that. I'm like, well, we might get a listener out of this. Like, I did. I confess on air to you listeners.
We might get a listener.
If she's listening now, please get in touch. I want to know how you've been going.
Oh. That was so brutal. That's so funny. If you're listening now, get in touch.
Get in touch. It's been a couple years.
Thanks for listening, and thanks to all of our listeners for listening.
We'd go on dates with all you listeners. Just say that up
totally,
top.
absolutely.
You're all the best dates we could go on.
Can you tweet at us? Can you Instagram comment at us? Can you YouTube comment at us? Can you send us an email? What dates in cinema do you adore? Is it It's a Wonderful Life? There's a good date in that movie.
There's great dates. There's so many good dates we didn't mention.
Oh man,
dude, there's the end of Mission Impossible 2 with Tom Cruise.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's some great ones. Yeah.
Imagine going rock climbing with Tom Cruise.
Oh, mate, that's a bloody good date. That'd be a good time. It's funny, I wanted to also pick a date from Star Wars, but I realized Star Wars just has no dates whatsoever.
No, there's one. There is one. It's in Attack of the Clones. And it's...
Oh, yeah, with Anakin. I'm like, no, that's a terrible date.
I actually think it'd be pretty fun to go to that field where there's that herd of whatever the hell that alien is, and he surfs on them.
It'd be better going with Natalie Portman than Hayden Christensen, at least she'd be normal.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I'd be the one surfing the alien, don't get me wrong. Oh, yeah. For sure.
I'm fun with that. So, yeah, there's so many dates that we didn't talk about today. So, get in touch, listeners. The best date we could possibly go on this week is actually coming up this Friday. Because you know what show we're about to do?
What show?
Feature Fridays with the Banter Boys, Brenton. It's the sweetest date of all. So...
Nathan, I got to admit something. Every week we do a Feature Fridays, the only thought that's in the back of my mind is, how romantic that show is. You know what I mean? It's half an hour of just steamy goodness.
I know.
So if you...
You're just looking at across me in the room, loving into my eyes. That's what you're always doing.
It's a real time. It's a special bond for everyone to hear. So yeah, if you're keen to hear us that, as well as movie news from today, as well as us talk about movies from today, whether that's reviewing them or just bringing up interesting topics, please get on board. Feature Fridays with the Banter Boys obviously comes out every Friday, and it's our little gift to you, our friends and family and listeners.
We just like chatting. We just like chatting about movies, man. It's so good to talk about modern stuff. Finally.
Finally, am I right?
Yeah. And also, if you want us to talk about a movie that you love that's older than 20 years, write it in an email. We're all this year we want to really do movies based on you listeners. So if you send it in, there's a good chance we'll do it. So let us know what your favorite old movies are. You want to chat about.
Please do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you one and all for listening, and we can't wait to see you next week for another review on classic movie banter. So but until then,
let's go to Cuba, Brenton.
Let's do it.
Oh boy. Here we go. Marlon Brando, not yet.